One thought. This thought kept coming back to me while I was playing the beta of Silver Palace. And as funny as it had nothing to do with the combat. It wasn't the visuals either, not the open world, nor the characters. Instead, it was something that actually hit me quite early. Within the first 30 minutes of my gameplay, I knew exactly what Silver Palace wanted to be. And if I'm being honest, this might be one of the greatest compliments I can give a gacha game these days. As gone are those days when every gacha game felt like a breath of fresh air. Nowadays, the biggest issue facing gacha games isn't the combat or graphics, it's actually identity. We are in the golden age of gacha games. Every upcoming gacha game looks incredible. The characters are beautiful. Animations are all quite cinematic. The open worlds are also beautiful, with enough cinematics to make you wonder if your PC can still handle these games. However, after you've played a lot of them, the lines separating them start to blur. One game asks you to save the world, so does the next. Then there's mysterious gods, a world-ending catastrophe. Let's not forget about the forgotten prophecy or the amnesiac main character. Before long, you start to realize that it feels like every main character is destined to stop the next apocalypse before they've even had any breakfast. Don't get me wrong, there isn't anything wrong with these stories. In fact, some of my favorite gachas embody these exact ideas. However, when every story has the highest possible stakes, the extraordinary starts changing to become ordinary. Saving the universe won't feel so special in gacha game Y when I have been doing it since gacha game A. It's simply expected. And that is one of the reasons Silver Palace surprised me. It does not in any way avoid conflict. Not because it changes open world exploration, but it seems to ask you a completely different question. What if the world wasn't ending? What if instead of chasing against some deity, your first job was to solve a murder? That single plot point changes how the whole game feels in its initial stages. And I think this is the reason Silver Palace keeps popping up into my brain after I play it. Not because it tries to be bigger than every other game, but purely because it has the confidence to be unapologetically different. I've said this before, modern gacha games have an identity problem. Initially, this might sound like quite the weird criticism to make, as we have a lot in the way of variety in gacha gaming today. There's fantasy worlds, post-apocalyptic worlds, and even urban fantasy. So you'll think, surely that's enough variety to keep everyone happy. But when you take away the visual differences, something fascinating begins to happen. You are always the chosen one, destined to change the world, powerful enough to be the one person who can stop this terrible big thing from happening. Your journey ends up turning into a story of whether you are strong enough to defeat them. I like a power fantasy as much as the next guy, so do not get me wrong. These stories are enjoyable and are actually fun when done right. But Silver Palace does not follow this formula. Instead, someone dies, and that's it. Simple, yet somehow so refreshing. Murder is something everyone understands. Something we understand better than some cosmic end of the world. There also follows a familiar question after this. Who did this? Why did they do this? And so on. This changes the story completely. You're not becoming a hero. You're becoming a detective. Honestly, to me, that is the reason Silver Palace stands out as a gacha game. The game isn't asking me to be the strongest person in all of existence, but I am being asked to be observant. I am asked to be patient and curious. It isn't just about defeating the next strong unit, but about investigating and listening. This fundamentally changes how you interact with the world of Silver Palace. Think of how exploration usually is in your favorite open world game. Find collectibles, defeat the enemy camp, unlock the next waypoint. Silver Palace seems to be asking something different of me. Slow down and observe. Instead of just rushing through town, you're being asked to pay attention to the town. The next werewolf could be hidden in plain sight, as well could be the next clue. That's an impressive feeling to recreate in an open world game. And it was exactly at this point that I realized that these just aren't mechanics that are being borrowed for a short gameplay part. It's asking us to think like detectives. That's a huge difference. One of the easiest mistakes that developers make is introducing a great idea and then forgetting about it immediately. I am sure you have all experienced this. A game introduces that one mechanical mode in the story that you enjoy but never see again after finishing part of the story. The detective angle in Silver Palace doesn't just disappear after some time. Everything we do seems to ride on that idea. The whole environment, the investigation, even some of the units we meet always manage to introduce some mystery about them that can sometimes be deduced by us. The city even encourages observation rather than constant movement, whether it be through identifying things that seem out of place in the environment and putting them back. You're not just moving around the city, you are reading and deducing. That's actually quite an important distinction, as the city doesn't just feel beautiful for the sake of it. Everything seems to have some purpose. A detective is more perceptive than the average individual. They put things together that normal players couldn't have, and they use information that is readily available to you as well. NPC routines matter. The things they say help solve cases. Everywhere you go suddenly might be an important clue. This is quite the breath of fresh air when you are used to the world being a den of hidden chests. One thing that also caught me by surprise is just how much I liked the idea of lower stakes. Wait, allow me to explain before you believe I'm just saying things. Usually, bigger stakes make it so the story feels bigger and better. With Silver Palace, the opposite has happened for me. Murder mysteries seem to work differently because of the smaller stakes. This time, the story feels deeply personal. Every new character has their motivation and story, and it isn't some big motivation. The story can now zoom in on individual characters and ask, why are they doing this? What motivates them? I feel like Silver Palace has the potential to make it so that their characters matter even more without messing with the natural flow of the story. As investigations are what drive the narrative, it is the core gameplay. Of course, this does not mean that combat is ignored by the game. I'd argue that this is the furthest from the truth. It is just that the game feels like it has an identity that isn't completely tied to the combat. And that's where things become even more interesting. There's something I thought I would never hear come out of my mouth. And it's weird, but I'll say it. The combat feels secondary. Now wait, I'll stop you again. This is not a criticism. I believe this might be even a strength if you look at it like I do. As we have come to judge gacha games by combat. How flashy is Ultimate Animation A compared to Ultimate Animation B? How difficult the game is? Does it have a high skill ceiling? While I was playing Silver Palace, none of this mattered to me. Perhaps it's because I haven't reached the end game and I haven't gotten to the crux of everything. But I personally believe that the game gives you so many reasons to care more than just the fighting. That rarely happens for me. In fact, almost never. The pacing is amazingly confident. Most games are usually afraid the player will become bored. Silver Palace trusts that the mystery and curiosity will carry you through. The best mysteries don't keep you active doing one thing after another. The best mysteries are those that keep you thinking. To bring things to a close, whether or not Silver Palace becomes one of the biggest gacha games in the gacha market is one thing we all cannot answer. Only time can give us that answer. There are a lot of things that go into that. The launch of a game is quite unpredictable. The content pipeline matters. Monetization is very important. There's a lot more to a gacha game than what I have discussed here. But after playing this game for some time, I keep coming to the same thought. I know exactly what Silver Palace wants to be. It isn't trying to become another game I already play. It isn't trying to raise the stakes even higher or convince me that I was the only person capable of saving the world. It simply asks me to solve a mystery. And in a market where so many games chase the same trends, that confidence might be Silver Palace's biggest strength. So I want to ask you the very same question. After playing the beta or watching gameplay and streams, what do you think Silver Palace wants to be? Let me know down below. I'm really curious where everyone stands on this.